So, Ron, you got the clock, the time?
Yes, ma'am. We're
Okay,
good.
so Kimon, you're up, and Kimon is with We Act Radio. He's been around for quite a while, and he is for the Initiative 83. And he's going to tell us why. Thanks, Kimon.
Thank you for having me. And I'm so glad to hear that two of my favorite people, Miss Sandra Seegers and Philip Nell, are still good friends in real life. And we're not going to have any problems at the Waffle House. All right. Thank y'all for convening this, because this is a necessary conversation. This is the way community is supposed to work. We're supposed to have dialogue with each other and wrestle with the issues, the pros and cons of things. And the fact is that I wish that this bill, I want to say this on the outset, that I'm not here to speak on behalf of the official campaign. I'm not a paid endorser of the campaign. I'm here to speak as co-founder of We Act Radio and also DC Statehood Green Party candidate for DC Delegate in the general election. Having said that, I do wish that Initiative 83 did not pair two separate issues together. There's two separate issues that we need to make sure that we understand. There's ranked choice voting, and then there's open primary. They're not the same thing. But because we're living under the dictates of capitalism, they join two together to try to get a 2-for-1. Because as you can imagine, ballot initiatives are very expensive and very costly, and it goes a lot work goes into it. So they are looking for a 2-for-1 here. I want to say openly that I wish that was not the case, because it just complicates the issue. So I want to start off by talking about ranked choice voting. Now, in regards to ranked choice voting, we've seen in just this last primary where you had, so many people running for Ward 7. It was like Wu-Tang Clan was running for Ward 7. And no disrespect to the brother, what's our brother name? I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going blank. That won in Ward
Wendell
7.
Felder.
Yes.
Wendell Felder?
Yes. No disrespect to that young brother, but he won with less than 25% of the vote. That means 75% of the people that did vote in Ward 7 chose someone else. So that is the form of electoral politics that we have right now. Now, I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's not representative democracy, where someone who wins 25% or less than 25% is supposed to represent 100% of the electorate. What ranked choice does is that it offers the voter to choose three of their top favorites. You have your 1, 2, and 3. So no one can possibly win without getting a minimum of 51%. That's majority. If this is democracy with majority rules, 51%. And I think it's apropos for DC, because 51 is where we're trying to get to, right? So if 51% is the minimum that it would, for someone to be victorious in a ranked choice voting system, I think that's superior to what we have now. For example, in the last mayoral race, more people voted against Muriel Bowser than voted for her. Okay, so there's more people that voted against our current mayor that actually voted for her. But when you have multiple people running, that divides that opposition vote. So you cannot divide the majority opposition vote and unseat incumbents, even when they're unpopular, like our mayor is. So if we had ranked choice voting, either Robert White or Trayon White would have won that election, depending on who got the most. And I think it would have been Robert White. So theoretically, somebody would have said, well, Robert's my first, somebody that's voting against Muriel, that is. Robert would have been my first choice, Trayon would have been my second choice, Muriel would have been my third choice. Then 51% threshold was all it was took, and Robert would have won that election. We would have a different mayor right now. This is primarily why the establishment doesn't care for this at all. It unseats unpopular candidates. When we keep hearing, oh, you're a spoiler, like I myself am representing the DC Statehood Green Party, on a national level, they are always accusing the Green Party of being a spoiler, stealing votes, as if your vote belongs to somebody. That's the thing that we have a problem with, these two major political parties, as if we, in a supposed democracy, our votes belong to either one of them. there's no room for an independent. There's no room for a third party. There's no room for any other choices. Ranked choice voting gives you more choices. I worked for Ralph Nader in 2004, and I voted for him in 2000. And if there was ever an election that was stolen, that was 2000. And what happened for boys and girls who are too young to remember what happened in 2000? The Electoral College stole that vote. Popular vote doesn't decide the winner in the presidential race. Electoral College does. That's why you can have someone win the majority vote and still lose the election to the Electoral College. So George Bush was challenging Al Gore. Al Gore won more votes, but the Electoral College was decided on Florida, and Florida had the governor. George Bush's brother was the governor, and there was all kinds of voter suppression that was going on in Florida. And then the Supreme Court ruled and gave it to George Bush, and Al Gore didn't even fight it. Now, none of that is what people remember. They always say, oh, because Ralph Nader ran, and he got more, the amount of votes he got was superior to the amount of votes that decided the popular vote. That is because of the third party that spoiled the election, which I just explained to you, that was not the case. But ranked choice voting eliminates that concept of being a spoiler, because I could rank my first choice, my second choice, and third choice. And when you rank your first, then if they don't get 51%, then they go to your second choice until we get that person that has the majority of the votes. This is about having more people supporting the said candidate so that we don't have a situation where an unpopular candidate is still in office. So that's the ranked choice portion. And it's in effect in several cities, New York, Massachusetts, Minneapolis, Alaska. In fact, and one of the things that people have been accusing ranked choice of is that somehow it's going to weaponize against Black people and empower GOP political candidates. Well, in Alaska, the GOP is trying to get rid of ranked choice voting. And you'll see that the main people locally behind the voter initiative against the initiatives, rather, is also a Republican. In fact, let me read something to you guys. This is from Paul Weyrich. He's a co-founder of the Heritage Foundation. He goes on to say that we don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down. That's Paul Weyrich, the Heritage Foundation. That is the people that's behind Project 2025. So you just heard that the same people who behind Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, is also funding the vote no on 83. Not for it, they vote no, okay? Because they understand, like, when we have now pivoting to the open primaries, we already have open primaries. The general election is an open primary. Everyone can vote. Anyone who's registered to vote can vote for the candidate of their choice. It's just the closed primaries, the Democratic, Republican, or whatever, the closed primaries, you have to declare who you are. And in DC, the fact is, this is a majority Democratic town. So if I'm not a registered Democrat, I don't get to have any say in the selection of the chosen candidates to run. I get to choose between the candidates in the general election, but I don't get to have any say in the selection of the candidates. That's the only difference. And just like Paul Weyrich said, more people vote in the general election than vote in the primary, primarily because of this reason. So we're just saying, open the primaries so that anyone who is registered to vote can vote to choose which candidates are going to be selected in the general election. That is all it's saying. We already have open primaries, but we're saying open up the closed primary so we can choose which candidates. That was two separate issues. I hope we can rest with them separately. But the fact is, there's no nefarious hand in any of this. We can discuss and debate it some more, but I want to acknowledge that in reading Will Smith's book, which explains a lot, I came across a notion that he explained that when we are arguing, we sometimes have been led to believe that someone's right and someone's wrong. But in reality, sometimes both of you are right or both of you can be wrong. And I think in this situation, I think most of the people that are on this call are both right. We are right to be suspicious of anything that comes in to try to address the current situation. But we also acknowledge that the current situation isn't working for everybody. And so I hope that we're going to wrestle with this and come to the conclusion that it's actually something that could be beneficial. Now, the other thing that I think is a popular question, I hope I get to respond to some questions, but I'm trying to be proactive. But one of the popular things that I've heard is that this is confusing and people won't understand it and what have you. I think that's very condescending. One, because it sounds like you're calling everybody stupid, and not all of us are. And then secondly, we all have to commit to learn. I don't think ranked choice voting is any more complicated than programming your television set. Okay. So that's my time. I believe that's my time. I think I just got the signal. But the main things to walk away with is that ranked choice voting empowers more voters, it eliminates unpopular candidates from staying in office, it gives more choice, and the open primaries gets an opportunity for all voters to participate in the political process. So either we agree with Paul Weyrich from the Heritage Foundation and want less people to vote, or we're going to be progressive and acknowledge that we need to have as many people vote and participate as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.